Yo, yo, yo. It is episode 41 of Wings, Beers, and Tears. We are a sports podcast focusing on the DMV and beyond. First things first, introductions. We've got with us Jeremy. How are you today, sir?
Happy to be here, that's for sure.
Good to see you, my brother.
Same.
How are you, Jerry?
I'd rather talk politics.
Your somber tone is going to set the mood for the evening,
I'd
I
rather
think, Jerry.
not talk politics.
Oh, shit. And I am Todd, and we have a whole lot of shit to talk about tonight. When I say shit, I mean it, literally and figuratively, because we are three of the most fun-loving sports fans I know, and all three of us right now.
One of us is. I don't know about anybody else. But
All three of us right now look like our, somebody just kicked our dog, and that's exactly what it feels like. So
It's the sign of inevitability.
it is.
You know?
This
It's
is
just disappointment.
This is the
coming.
torture of being a loyal sports fan.
Yeah.
Is your team is not going to sit at the top all the time, and when you are sinking lower or you see the ship going down, you have no choice. You got to go down
It's
with
like
it.
we're on the Titanic and we see the fucking iceberg coming.
I know, and we're just like, take me now. We're like, fuck.
Actually, we may have already hit the iceberg.
We
we're,
may
we're
have.
slowly going down under.
Our denial tells us we didn't actually hit the iceberg, but
And
I
you are the most optimistic sports fan I've ever
but
seen.
I got to tell you, man, I'm having a hard time. On the optimistic side, there's only one thing to do, and it's to play the fucking games and play your way out of the funk. I mean, that's it. So let's get right to it and start with the Caps.
Jeremy, is it a funk or is this the new reality? Is this what the Caps are? They're old and slow,
it's a funk.
and their defense sucks.
I mean, they suck, and they're still the fifth best team in the NHL or whatever. I mean,
You don't
fine.
amass as many points as they have to this point without having a ton of talent and having a good squad. And I mean, they were the best team in hockey for the first third of the year. That is not a small sample size. No. But conversely, in the last third of the year, let's take the last 29 games, for example, we are currently 14-1 and have amassed the 22nd most points in the league.
Would we even make the playoffs if that were the sample size?
No. If that was the pace for the year, we would not make it. Guess who is right behind us in the last 29 games? The Islanders and the Hurricanes.
Wow.
Yep. And those three teams in the East, which back in December looked like they were, potential Eastern Conference finalists, now look like they are limping to get to the finish line.
And Pittsburgh just got done losing 4 in a row or something like that.
Pittsburgh lost 4 in a row.
Well, Philly has handed the Caps 2 bad losses. I mean,
That
11 and 12
matchup,
goals.
it is becoming increasingly evident to me, and I could be 100% wrong. That matchup is an absolute nightmare for the Caps. Absolute nightmare.
Why? What do they do?
Well,
Other than Kevin Hayes playing like the world's greatest player when they
he's good.
play.
Hayes
He
playing
is
great.
good, yeah.
Hayes is
but
playing great.
And he can sing, too.
Yeah, I mean, Couturier, Giroux. I think Hart's a stud. He's a number one goalie who's going to be really, really good.
And their backup just smoked us.
Yeah, well, we also had 15 shots on goal and about
15
48.
15 penalties.
Yeah, so last night was just a mess. I will say this though: last night's first period. Oh yeah, Todd special right there. We're up 1-0. We're playing good hard-nosed hockey. I think I had 2 breakdowns on defense that I saw in the first period that worried me. So I'm like, oh, we're good. And then in the second period, we just decided to have it was like a clown show in and out of the penalty box. And
I think Company had a few of those, even though he was in the press box.
yeah, really. Jensen looked completely outclassed last night. Dude, that was one of his worst games, man.
My biggest, I didn't really watch that much.
Don't we say that every week?
Jensen, there are times during games when I'm like, come on, dude, get it together. Last night, like I was waiting for them to just roll 5D, like bantam, youth hockey, because he just didn't have it.
Well, they can't. They got to stop taking so many damn penalties, and the officiating completely sucked. But I don't think it was necessarily one-sided.
Exactly. That's what I told you. Like that, how Dylan gets 2 in that scrum, an extra 2. I have no fucking idea. I do have an idea, but it's still horseshit.
Is that the same one? I mean, didn't you get it for the rough for the check after the whistle as opposed to anything? Okay.
Yeah, but with all the shit that went down there.
Well, he's hit by 3 guys afterwards. Nothing.
Correct. Exactly. But then they call that phantom interference call, and I'm like, God, these guys are just awful. Either way, it doesn't fucking matter. Our special teams is so bad that even if we get the right side of the coin and we get the calls, we're not doing anything with it.
Well, to me, the power play is getting me more and more of a concern because they can't get out of the funk they're in.
Oh,
it's all about zone entries, and if they can't get zone entries, nothing else is going to matter.
Yeah, but they're doing nothing to correct the zone entries.
Well, I try. It's not working.
Well, I'm sorry, you're a pro team. Do fucking something different.
Well, the bottom line, though, is they can't – I don't care if it's power play, penalty kill, which isn't penalty kill number one or is it number one on the road? I don't know, whatever it is. But too many penalties. This team is better when it can roll 4 lines.
Yep.
You can't come close to rolling 4 lines when you're in the box or even on the power play.
Absolutely.
And, and one of the things I still really don't like is Ovi playing the full 2 minutes. It's completely unnecessary.
I'm so glad to hear you say
Especially now
that.
we got Kovalchuk. He can do the exact same thing in the exact same spot if they don't want to mix up the two units, which they absolutely should. But I've been saying that for a decade. So.
Yep, Jay, I'm with you 100%, man. With the addition of Kovalchuk, you have another super uber skilled guy who specializes on power play time, and we're sitting there with basically the first unit for about a minute 40 of the power play, in which they've entered the zone probably 3 or 4 times for about 10 seconds apiece, only to have the turn it over and have it exit again. It's pathetic.
And just I'm going to pile on my own point and just Ovi can't come out for a while, then Carlson can't come out. They're 2 of your best players. Ovi even, I would say, honestly, he's one of the more disciplined guys right now. But you can't play him for a good 2 minutes after the power play because he has played 2 minutes on the power play.
Exactly.
And that just now maybe that I'm overstating that because they've never tried to change it, but I just would much rather see 1 minute, hard, get off, be ready to be that first shift after the power play.
Yep.
Send Carlson right back out there.
Yep.
If you don't score, then you still got your top line out there, still rolling the 4th line out there, just trying to hold on.
Right.
It's not working. Like you said,
it's not working. And another quick little stat here that is troubling for me, at least. Yes, they are currently, if you look at the league records, if you take conferences and divisions out of it, and just go straight up records, points, etc., we're 5th in the league with 86 points. Our goal differential, however, is only a plus 24. We are by far the lowest of the top 10 in goal differential.
That's far?
Yeah, by 6. The next one is 30.
Okay.
That's worrisome to me.
It doesn't matter if you're the 5th best team in the league if you're one of the bottom tier teams in the last third of the season.
Yeah, last 29 games.
Yeah, I mean, it matters how you're going in, not how you're, I don't know. I mean, here's how I look at it. Either the Caps are old and slow, and that's just what they are. Their defense obviously is bad. There's no hiding it now. I mean, they have 3 defensemen, one of which is playing on the wrong side. Apparently, Orlov. He doesn't look that comfortable to me.
And he hadn't been that good all year anyway. I don't think.
And but Gudis and Kempny and Jensen. I mean, those guys are just you can't hide them.
Yeah.
Right. And whoever's in the game is going to get attacked, and they cannot get the puck out of the zone. They just cannot. When the other team dumps it in there, and it feels like the other team has the puck possession like 4 minutes. They can't even ice it. I mean, it's that bad. And inevitably, they get scored upon. Inevitably, they make a mistake. They make one of those stupid turnovers, and it crushes them, and then they have penalties. So the defensive lapses are going to be there. I don't know if it's a coaching problem, if it's a scheme problem. I think the power play is a scheme problem. Because half the time they can't even get it in the zone before it gets cleared out.
I'm beginning to completely agree with that statement because the same personnel has been one of the most successful power plays in the league.
And they just do the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
And I don't watch a lot of hockey games that don't involve the Caps, but when I do, and even against the teams the Caps are playing, nobody has as much trouble getting into the zone on a power play than the Caps do. I mean, it's a struggle. Mm-hmm. And once the other team gets in, no matter who it is, they're in there for a minute.
Right.
Without a clear. So, I think part of the blame, we gave him a lot of credit, but part of the blame is McClellan. He made bad choices. I mean, Jensen was a mistake. Kempny, you can't really do anything about. I mean, that's his hamstring.
Right.
When you lose your hamstring, it's just that's an Alex Smith type thing.
Sure.
You know,
injuries are what they are. You're right.
And Gudis, I don't think anybody had any expectations that he was going to be anything special. Maybe they're pushing him into a role that he's really not equipped for.
Well, Jeremy mentioned that earlier in the year.
What was the third pair last night?
Wasn't it Jensen and Gudis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Siegs
what it should be. So Siegs played up with Orlov?
No. It was Siegs and Gudis was the third pair.
Okay.
They put Jensen with Orlov.
Okay.
Yeah. Either way, to Jerry's point, basically, aside from Carlson and Dillon, I mean, you're a patchwork defensive lineup,
and you're going to be, and there's no masking it.
No.
Other than in the playoffs, you're playing 4, and at least you'll have 3 bad defensemen you can rotate in there, right? I mean, Kempney's going tonight apparently. I don't expect much. I'd like to see him sit and stretch him out or something. Or I mean, I don't know what to. I'm not a trainer, but maybe if he can rehab a little bit, and who knows? I mean, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to hide half of your defense, in the playoffs. I will say this though: in the playoffs, the Caps are going to be big and physical, and in a 7-game series, even against Philly, maybe they can wear them out. That's really it. That's really, I think, the only.
I'm a little bit with you on that one, and we have seen over the years really good, solid teams that look like they were old and slow, and we're like, oh no, here's the writing on the wall. These guys are done, and then they win a playoff series or two just because they are tested and tried, and the veterans know how to fucking turn it on, and they're like, let's go. And the Caps have every ingredient to make that happen.
Well, the comments from Lars Eller after last night's game indicate that more effort is needed.
Yes.
And he says everybody, because he didn't want to call anybody out, but I think the inference is the guys on the first line. I mean, Ovechkin, God bless him, he likes to hit. He doesn't hit as much as he used to, and I know he's conserving because he's getting older.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But he clearly lacks in the defensive end. When he floats in there, you can just see it. Mm-hmm. He just floats. Kuznetsov does the same thing.
Right.
I'm not sure Backstrom's very, a great defensive guy. I don't know if he is or isn't.
Yeah, he's positionally tremendous, but he's just not that fast.
Right. So, but Eller seems to think that there's more effort, which leads me to the conclusion that they're really just trying to get to the end of the year.
I use the term limp across the finish line. I think that's kind of where they, and honestly, like Jay said, Pittsburgh. I think that's where they and Pittsburgh and the Islanders are right now. All 3 are uber skilled, and it's almost like they want to go, can we just start the playoffs now?
It doesn't matter who they play. I think they're going to be an underdog against anybody. But if they go a 7-game series because they're big and physical, I mean, Wilson was hitting last night. It's not like what disappoints me the most. It's not like the Caps weren't trying. It's not like they were going through the motions. I mean, at least Wilson was out there hitting. Hathaway. My takeaways from the first are: one is John Carlson started off on fire, and that probably masked a lot of problems.
Very possible.
It wasn't sustainable, but it made us look like offensively we were better than we were.
Right.
And 2, the fourth line was better at the beginning than they are now. Hathaway got a goal, I think, against Winnipeg, but other than that, they don't.
He got a goal last night.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. So if they can start picking up, I mean, that's where the Caps. Everybody says Michael Kempney and the Stanley Cup run was the key ingredient, and he very well might have been. But I thought the fourth line during that run was amazing.
Absolutely.
When you can get Smith Pelly scoring,
dude, he's a cult hero now.
Yeah,
man,
I mean, but he was getting like 7 goals, and he had like 5 the whole.
Well, when the bottom 6 can put up a goal a game in the playoffs, you're going to go a long way.
Yes,
period.
well said.
Right.
Well said. I guess another stat that really concerns me, and to pile on the defensive ineptitude here, because why not? Let's do it. Right? Is for the first time since 2007, the Caps have allowed 3 or more goals in 9 consecutive games. That's really not a very good stat. That's almost like akin to like if the Nats had a rough patch and you're like, oh, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. And you're like, okay, the key to our team is Strauss and Scherzer and all these guys. And we gave up 5 runs in 10 straight games. It's like, you're not going to win very many games doing that. That's I mean, pretty much the opposite of a heater that the Caps are on right now.
I'm stunned. Like, I'm not stunned that Maryland, in our next segment we talk about, I'm not stunned that they're limping across the line, right? That's sort of their MO. I'm stunned that the Caps are because they were built, they're a championship pedigree team. They've been through the wars. They know what it takes to win. They should be able to give 75% effort and win if the other team's giving 75% effort. But right now, ever since December,
right,
I'm stunned that they just can't figure it out.
Now, it truly is a tale of 2 seasons for this team. They were far and away the best team in the Metro, arguably one of the top 2 to 3 teams in the entire NHL for a solid 30-game stretch. And in the next 30 games, they are very much a middle of the pack to lower pack team, and the numbers support that. I'm not shitting on them. That's the way they are right now.
Yeah, I just think that with them, and they are getting older, a little slower. I mean, there's still plenty of guys that can fly, but to me, again, with the Caps, it's not about pure speed. It's about possession and then the pace that comes with that possession. And it snowballs on them when they don't have that. I mean, I feel like we were talking about earlier in the season to now, those high danger chances are 1 or 2 a game. Even if the team scored on both of those, usually this team's good enough to get 3 goals, you win your games. That's what was happening a lot, They were getting a lot of, overtime wins, things like that, because that's even dried up.
Yeah.
I think they have 1 loser point in the last, 20 games or something like that.
Right. And
that wasn't happening earlier in the year. When they lost, that's how they would lose.
That's a really good point, Jay, because if you could just grind it out on the road and get the game to 4-4 and find a way to get a loser point, if you do that once every other week, that's an additional 3 or 4 points in the month, and now they're still sitting in first, and we're probably having a different kind of conversation.
And we're going beyond that because there were a couple of games where like, wow, good job, loser point, and they still going the last minute, like, holy crap, they won regulation, they're down 4-2 going into the third, and they're just not coming close to doing that stuff right now. And I think that the way they played, even at the tail end of the good stretch, has led to this because
I think you're right.
They really, probably played about 20 games, 25 games where they were really on top of their game, and then they kind of started slipping a little bit, but were able to mask it with talent, and now they're getting tired, banged up, and they're just not.
I think
not
you're
as
spot
good.
on.
Yeah. I mean, the way I see the formula for the Caps, and again, I'm the least informed person, maybe, other than me and Holly. We just talk about
That's
it.
okay.
But they get a 7-game series. It doesn't matter who they're playing. Islanders, Flyers, Penguins, doesn't matter.
And the last decade tells us they're going to use all 7 games.
Right.
I mean,
but it doesn't matter. So you got to split the first 2, right? You got to split the first 2, and you got to unload hits. And by games 3 and 4, maybe those guys trying to forecheck are not coming in as hard as they were and all that shit. And, maybe by games 5 and 6, just like Tampa, a couple of years ago, they don't have anything left by game 6.
Right. And
they're just shells, and they just can't take the punishment anymore. And it beats your own team up. But if that's your strength,
Right.
I mean, they got some big dudes on their team.
I mean, even last night, Philly is still big, bad, and nasty, and I think we were the more aggressive, physical team.
But I don't know if Philly, and look, kudos to them, man.
They're playing
they're
great.
really good. They're on a heater right now.
They're playing really, really well.
But
I really like their coach, too. I've always been a fan of his.
Can they do it for 7 games when it goes back to back, every other night?
And that is
hitting.
still the trump card that we hold because we have the experience.
That's the only trump card we hold, I think, because right now our defense is shitty. And that's a
not good.
freaking liability, man.
It's not good.
I don't know. I mean, you can't hide them. Someone's got to play. You got 3 who are any good, and then you got to I'd like to see Reardon get your top 4 out there and just play them. Mm-hmm. Right, play your top 4, get your rotation going. I mean, tonight Gudis is out, Kempney's in. Are we going to do that for the playoffs? Like there'll never be any cohesiveness. I just think. I mean, what do I think? I heard some guy on the radio mention, that Orlov's on the other side. Doesn't look comfortable. But like Jeremy said, maybe he hadn't been that good all year. But, we obviously swung and missed on a lot of defensemen.
Well, here's the deal. There's no magic fix, but this roster is not drastically different than the one that, went 18-3-2 or whatever the stretch was.
Right.
That wasn't just a small sample size of a heater. That was sustained dominant play. To Jeremy's point, towards the end of after they had that great run, started to drop a few points here and there, started to show signs of being, you use the term disinterested. I don't think that that's the case now. They look desperate now.
Yeah.
They look interested.
And they just look old.
And they just look discombobulated. Yeah. They really do. However, within all that, again, if you just watched the first period back last night, not knowing what the result was, you figure the Caps win that game 4-1 on home ice. 1-0 lead, completely dominating in scoring chances, hits, you name it. And the goal that they got was pure speed from all the way from one end of the ice to the other. It was a beautiful goal.
Absolutely.
And to Jeremy's point, that's what I've been harping on all year about playing fast. I'm not talking about the Dylan Larkin speed demon. That doesn't fucking happen in the NHL.
Except for Vrana.
Those incidents are very isolated, right? The Vranas of the world, the McDavids, the Larkins, those guys can do it from time to time, but you don't get much time and space, especially in the playoffs. You move the puck as fast as humanly possible. And right now, we are complacent with the puck, and it starts in our own end. I love John Carlson. When we're breaking the puck out sometimes, I want to fucking shake him and be like, dude, Can you please get the puck off of your stick?
Our defensemen suck at that.
But I maintain, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think that's a systematic thing.
might be
think
right.
that they are being taught to break the puck out a certain way, and it is not working.
See, here's what upsets me when you're watching the Redskins play under Greg Minuski and their pass rushers are dropping back in coverage. You can sort of say, "What the fuck is he doing?" But I can't look at hockey and look at that and saying, "What are they doing wrong?" That's what's frustrating to me.
And I am looking at it going, what the fuck are they doing? Why isn't that puck moving from point to point? Why isn't that puck circling back around? Why isn't the center coming back quicker? Why isn't the winger releasing earlier? Like, I'm seeing a lot of little basic things. They look like a video game that just stuck in like medium.
Maybe the forwards aren't coming back. I don't know.
Well, they're unsure right now because of all the mistakes they've been making, and that creates these problems. If Carlson isn't sure if Wilson's going to not step on the puck, fall over, and turn it over 1 out of 10 times, then he might be a little more confident on snapping something up to him. But that is happening. The Caps are having too many turnovers in the neutral zone. It's been happening, well, for years, really, but I just feel like for some reason it's magnified this year. Don't know why. When it comes to the playoffs, though, and I probably say this about once a month, so I've probably said it a dozen times on this pod, but the 7 games that you can game plan for matters if your coaching staff is good. So I think really we're going to see what this staff can do in the playoffs this year, and if they can't get it done, you're going to see a change at the end of this year.
I'm glad to hear you say that,
I think
Jay.
it's looking like Pittsburgh in the first round, and maybe that's not bad.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. I mean,
and I'll tell you, I don't care who they get this year in the first round.
I don't really care either.
I really don't.
Every year I cop out and I go, oh, the first round series is going to go 7, and it fucking does like every single time. So I'm with you. I don't think it matters who they play. I think it's going to be a long, grinded out series.
I mean, Pittsburgh is very skilled. Obviously, they're very skilled. But do you want to play them in the first or second round when you're tired? Right? I mean, you might as well just – I mean, you got to play them at some point.
Too many factors just doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I'm not worried about this season.
All right. So
I'd like to see the Caps string 3 or 4 wins in a row, get some confidence, get some momentum, get some rhythm.
I would actually love to see like a 5-game stretch where we give up like 11 total goals.
Right.
I don't care if 4 of them are in one game. I'm saying like have a 5-game stretch where your team goal against now is in like the 2 or sub 2 range.
I mean, Holtby's going again tonight. What does that tell you?
Really?
Yeah. He's going again according to Russian Machine.
I saw conflicting reports today.
That tells me Sammy might be dinged up or something. That's, I mean, that makes no sense.
Either way, we shit on Holtby a couple months ago. Clearly not the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the defensive schemes and the breakdowns. And no goalie in the league is going to be able to sustain those breakdowns. So, Caps, get it together because I got news for you. The rest of my teams aren't doing very well either, and I'm clinging to life here as a loyal sports fan. I'll never jump ship.
Don't worry, guys. You have the O's coming up.
Thank God. Yeah, buddy. Bunch of guys, we don't know who they are. That's going to be awesome. Another 100-loss season.
Just watch Major League at the beginning, and that's what Todd and Jeremy are like.
That's exactly right.
Who are these shitty fucking guys?
So another one of my teams that is not doing very well here in the DMV, well, again, take it with a grain of salt, but it has not been good.
They're not doing very well.
It has not been good. Our beloved Terps. I don't know what to say about them. I'm not as down on the Terps or as frustrated with them as I am with the Caps because to bank on something you said earlier, Jerry, I kind of saw this stretch happening for Maryland. They pulled a bunch of wins out of their hat when they probably shouldn't have. And in college basketball, the pendulum is going to swing the other way, especially in a really competitive conference like the Big Ten. So it did not shock me when we dropped the game to Michigan State at home. We beat Michigan State there. I didn't think there was any way you're going to beat Tom Izzo twice in the same season. I just didn't think it was going to happen. Maryland's not good enough. But I did think they were going to go on the road to Rutgers and have a good, grinded out, low-scoring game. Unfortunately, we scored like it was a low-scoring game, and we gave up points on the other side. Rutgers couldn't miss. We couldn't hit a shot. Summary, game, set, match. That's exactly what happened. And it's unbelievably frustrating to watch.
Jeremy, what do you think?
Well, I sort of like Todd said, this stretch was not unexpected, and I may already be flip-flopping in my own mind on my opinion on this in terms of comparing the Caps to the Terps. The biggest thing that scares me about the Terps is one bad game and they're done in the tournament.
Yep.
Caps can have one of these bad games in a series and still come back from it. Terps can't.
Yep.
But one of the positives I took from that Rutgers game was the way Rutgers played, Maryland wasn't winning that game. It didn't matter. So the fact they didn't win doesn't really bother me. But I liked Sorrell got a little more PT. I liked that Tomaj got a little more PT because we're going to need those guys on Saturday or Sunday in the second round. Mm-hmm. And yes, I'm going to go ahead and assume they get there. Still probably lose in the first round. But I don't know what Turge is supposed to do because, again, I mean, I think just look about the Caps. It could be a coaching thing, at least to an extent. But because I was talking to shout out to Shike. I don't know if he's going to listen to this since he now knows about the podcast.
Oh, hey, Shike.
But we were talking about a little bit watching the game on Saturday, and I think a lot of times the guys that make the most mistakes are Cowan and Sticks.
Because they have the ball 90%
when you
of the
can't
time.
bench those guys either.
Right.
I mean, so
Exactly.
it's like, what is he really supposed to do about what's going on? And I was actually talking to Todd earlier about this today, so I'm not going to bore him with this, but I was not as discouraged for the 2 for 20 start from three as probably everybody else in the world was because it's
How
pathetic.
could you not be?
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, no, not as disappointed.
Finish
as
your
everybody
point.
else. Yeah.
So I can fucking rail you.
No, it is.
Please don't rail him.
That would be
You can
fun.
rail on him.
Might be
but-
fun for you, but they couldn't even get a shot off. So they're chucking up threes at the end of the shot clock. I was like, of course they're going to miss those. So I mean, really, they're only as bad as about 2 for 15. Is all I'm trying to say.
All right, let me break down some realism for you fools.
Hey, man, the grass is not greener over here,
Last
bro.
4 games, they have been down by 14 points or more in each game. And
That's like giving up 3 goals or more in 9 straight. I mean,
they had a
seriously, the
miracle
parallels here-
comeback in Minnesota.
They did.
But other than that, they have been shitty
Awful.
all 4 fucking games.
Awful.
Not even really competitive. So
So why are they number one in the best conference in the country?
because they had some wins at the middle of the year, but doesn't matter. That doesn't matter now. It matters how you're going into the. I mean, look at Michigan State. They sucked at the beginning of the year. Now they're on a heater.
They do it every fucking
and they
year.
do it every fucking year because that's what their tournament tough. Maryland, I mean, they can play good in the grind,
Right.
but when teams start saying, "All right, now we're getting ready for March," now they're falling apart. That's concerning.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter it doesn't matter where they are. It matters how they're playing. If they go in and they lose to Michigan at home, playing for the conference regular season tie, that's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to get the double bye, and if they lose that, now you're losing 6 in a row. And this is the Turgeon. This is what he does, right? He loses when it counts. So,
He has in the past.
and it's not like they're. First of all, none of these teams that they just played, other than Michigan State, which obviously I think is going to be there, one of the top teams in the end.
They're tough as shit, man.
Rutgers ain't going nowhere. I know they play at the rack and that's supposed to be amazing and they've been good all year. Fuck that, dude. They're a first round loss.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
Ohio State's a first round loss.
Don't disagree.
Minnesota's not even going.
Yep.
Michigan's a first round loss. They're not. It's not like they're playing a gauntlet of Duke, UNC back in the day. Duke,
Right.
UNC, Wake
Right.
Forest. Your top 15 teams all over. It's disappointing, and I don't know if it's because Sticks and Cowan may be getting worn down because they've relied on them so much and they've played so many minutes. But I am so fucking sick of people talking about Wiggins and how great he is because he ain't nothing special. He could shoot in high school. Can't shoot very well now. I mean, it drove me fucking crazy when they were 6 for like 25. If you're not making them, do something different.
The fact that they couldn't get the ball inside or even run some mismatch pick and roll plays where the goal isn't to get the shot from inside, but it's to get a mismatch. So when you kick it back out, to Jay's point, there's not 2 seconds left on the shot clock and it's not as contested. They have sizable guards that can be a matchup problem. And I'm not talking about Morcell posting up a 6-foot guy. I'm talking about Morcell trying to take the 6'10 guy to the hole and then kicking it out to Ayala, who now has the little 6-foot guard who has to rotate on him. And now over to Cowan, back to Wiggins, and then into Smith. Any combination of things to get them moving around. There were back-to-back series last night where not one Maryland pass even touched the paint on an offensive series, and we had the ball for almost the entire 30 seconds on each series. So basically, we played fucking like hot potato around the perimeter, and then jacked up 2 threes in a row.
Well, last night they didn't even make a shot, but that's a different story.
Fuck off! All the nights you're running together,
No, but I don't
all the
usually
pain and misery.
I don't usually notice this, maybe hopefully because it doesn't happen in Maryland games. They looked like the Caps, taking it back to that, on the power play a couple times.
I had the
I'm
same
like,
thought.
why is no one but Cowan moving? I'm like, what the fuck are they doing?
I know.
There's nothing worse other than getting kicked in the balls. There is nothing worse than watching the Caps fucking just stand around their power play and wait for Ovechkin to get the puck, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's gonna shoot it!" No shit. I mean, how many times have we fucking seen that? Jesus Christ! I mean, if
700 or so.
No, but I like the analogy Jay just made, because there were definitely some sequences last night where Rutgers hit a big shot, or there was even one where we got a really nice defensive stand, get the ball, we push it up the court. Of course, Turge is doing the slow it down from the sidelines. I'm like, no, fucking push the pace, you idiot. In any event, so they reset the offense only to have 3 passes, a combined probably 2 feet between. They were basically just handing the ball off to each other.
The mini weave.
Yeah, the mini weave, and then Wiggins just dribbled it right off his foot and out of bounds. I was like, hey, good thing we didn't push the pace there, Turge.
good job, Ollie from fucking Hoosiers.
Yeah,
Shorts are
seriously.
too short.
You know what drives me crazy? I would say 80% of the time when the game has started, and I don't care what sport it is of the team I'm cheering for recently, I get there and their Caps are down by 2 goals, or Maryland's down by 12. It's like, I mean, what did Michigan State start off like 9-0?
Well, it's 20
and then 20.
14-2.
Well, the first time I looked at my phone, because Frankie had a game, so I'm standing there and I'm like, okay, the game just started, and I'm like, I don't want to jinx it. I'll wait for a couple minutes. I looked down, it was 20-6. I was like, are you fucking kidding?
Isn't that the worst feeling in the world? And I'm telling you,
of course
8 out of 10 times that happens.
I know,
to me right
and of
now.
course I DVR'd it, so I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go home and watch this one. This is going to be great.
Fuck.
Well, that game was on. That was an ESPN game, right?
Yes.
So UVA Duke was on right before it.
Yes.
And so they didn't cut into it till about 5 minutes into the game. 9-0. As soon as they switched over to the side.
Jesus Christ. But it's with the Caps, they're inevitably, I mean, they scored first
know.
last night, but
I know. So, and the kiss of death last night, as soon as they scored first and the game was on NBCSN, they said, Caps 19-0-2 when scoring first. And I'm like, oh, fuck, here it is. And then,
you know what
of course,
kills me is it's 1-1, right? They get that goal, and then that's my sign to stop watching and start watching on my phone,
Right.
Because I'm trying to get my mojo back. I got to get ready for the playoffs because I never watch a game.
That's right.
But it's
Thank God.
like
Unless you're there and then you have like 10 Bud Lights.
Every
and-
time, in the playoffs, I'll tell you what I do. Right, I watch the Caps game. With the other team scores first, that's it for me. I don't watch anymore. And then every 30 minutes, I check my phone. And I block everybody else out of the thing, right? and that took us to the Stanley Cup championship. So I do it every time.
Guess who else did that?
Right?
This one over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last night it made one. Once the other team scores, I'm done, right? Until the Caps get the lead again. So I was supposed to do it every half.
waiting for a while.
Yeah, I was supposed to do it every half hour, but I'd get antsy, right? I'd get antsy, and I didn't have discipline. And the 2 times I turned it back early, I was right when the freaking Flyers were celebrating. Both times. It was like God is punishing me.
Yeah.
It's like right when they, it's 3-1. I'm like, what the fuck? This is all in the second period.
Well, maybe you deserve it because he saved me a little bit last night because I was planning my next cruise and not worried too much about the game. So
Jeremy.
You got to go get the Corona.
yeah, I definitely have plenty of Corona on the
A
ship.
bunch of Coronas.
Yeah, you'll be locked on the fucking boat for 30 days. Go.
Hey,
good
man.
riddance.
As
Just
long
keep
as
the
I got
beers
booze.
flowing. That's right. Keep the goose and tonic coming.
Sorry, can't go back to work. I'm quarantined
well.
on a ship.
Now, so I am not optimistic that this Maryland season is going to end any other way than it's done in the Turgeon era, which is high expectations and a second round exit in the NCAA tournament.
Well,
however, they have the parts to go far. Just like the Caps, they have the personnel, they got the talent, they can go far.
Winston.
Now
We got the team. We got the talent.
mentioned it about the Caps. So let's say that exact scenario, which is probably at worst 50-50 that happens, is Turge in trouble?
So
I say no, but I could see the other side.
So the very logical part of me says there's no way Turge is in trouble
Okay.
for a bunch of reasons, not the least
Financially.
of which, correct.
That's
not the
a
least
big-
of
that's
which
a
is
big one.
financial.
That's a big one.
And if not him, then who?
Always my question.
Because the Terps fans certainly look at him and go, this guy can't coach. He can't do this. He can't do that. Yet another season with 20-plus wins. Yet another season with NCAA tournament aspirations. Another recruiting class coming in that's good. And knock on wood, as far as we know, it's a clean program.
Yeah.
I had
the same conversations with some of my West Virginia friends who, you want to see a collapse. Huggins has lost that team.
Okay, so they were on this weekend. It was like weird downtime for me, and I turned it on. It was at West Virginia. I think it was Oklahoma that was playing.
They got smoked.
Dude, it was awful.
That team has quit, and everybody wants Huggins fired. I'm like, why? Who else are you going to get up there?
And that's the
who.
question,
He
right?
won 20 games, right? He's going to go to the tournament. They'll lose in the first round, but who else is going to take that job? It's fucking Morgantown. It's not like Calipari's coming in there.
I'm with you, man.
When Huggins came there, it was like, holy shit, I can't believe that guy came home.
Right. Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, he coaches until he either puts us on probation or he dies, which may be next year. Either one.
Beeline will come back.
Interesting to see which would be the better odds of that happening first.
Yeah, we have Pitt Snoggle. God, we didn't know Pitt Snoggle, man.
Seriously.
That guy was awesome.
That guy was great. So that's the real question is, Turge drives me crazy, but he's a good man. He's a good recruiter. And honest to God, I actually liked his press conference the other night after the game. He did look exasperated. He did look, but it's hard to argue with what he said. He goes, I love those guys in our locker room. They work hard. He goes, we've had a really bad 72 hours. He goes, we haven't been good.
Yep.
He goes, the only thing to do, get back to practice, hopefully lick our wounds a little bit, and we got to go out. We got to win Sunday. And I like hearing that mentality because a couple years ago, I think that would be the Turgeon of old where he's painted into a corner and he's like, well, we couldn't get a call tonight and they shot better than we did. And he didn't say any of that. He was just like, we weren't good. We got to get better.
At the end of the day, he's your guy. Financially, you cannot get rid of him have enough capital to get somebody who's going to be better.
I agree.
Right?
Because the names of guys that you would want that are pedigree-wise above him, they've already got good jobs. They're already making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
They're not leaving for Maryland.
Exactly.
Bill Self's not leaving Kansas for Maryland.
They should. First of all, they should get a top 5 coach because they're University of Maryland in maybe the greatest recruiting fertile area in the country. Mm-hmm. I have told everybody who will listen, if John Calipari coached at Maryland, they would be in the Final Four every other year and winning national championships every third year because he would get all those dudes to stay home. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he's a good coach. I don't know if he's a good floor coach at all. But all I know is he can recruit.
Yep.
And Kentucky is maybe, obviously that's a national name, so that can recruit a little bit as good or better than Maryland. But you put him here with all this talent around here in the D.C. area, you would never leave the top 10, ever.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
But it would also cost you $20 million or whatever.
It would cost a ton, and the chances that you're on probation in 2 or 3 years are fairly high.
Yeah, but he hadn't put Kentucky on probation. But I tell you what, when he commits a violation, they'll just cut West Virginia. So that's how the NCAA works, right?
Right.
North Carolina basically cheats, and it's a given. They're doing fake classes. Nothing happens to them. But damn it, fucking Gonzaga or some low-level team, not Gonzaga maybe, but, some Wyoming, man, they'll get hammered.
Yeah.
Because they'll have to, but not anybody with pedigree.
Nope.
Fuck that.
Nope.
So West Virginia, their history next time Kentucky gets trouble.
Yeah, so I don't know. So, all right, so here's a question. Who exceeds expectations at this point? The Caps or the Terps? If we have to pick one,
I think the Caps do.
I think so too. And
I
Jeremy
think with Jeremy's formula of the 7-game series,
I agree,
and their size, and the fact that nobody can out hit them when they want to.
Right.
I think that will wear them down. They could easily lose in the first round, but I think they have the better chance to go farther and pleasantly surprise us. Because right now, I think both the Caps and Maryland will lose in the first round. Not in the first weekend.
First weekend for the for the Terps.
Yeah, I would just say I have lower expectations for the Terps and the Caps, so I would say that Terps have a better chance to exceed those expectations. But
fair enough.
To
play devil's advocate, just real quick while I was thinking about it, because it's a one and done tournament, Maryland conceivably is going to have the best two players on the floor until the Final Four. I mean, what if you just ride 30 from Cowan and 30 from Sticks in the first?
That
3 or
would
4
be
games?
amazing.
I mean,
That would be
that's
amazing.
kind of what they have to do, right?
Absolutely, that would
Yeah.
be amazing.
So
I mean, that's your game plan, bro.
But the more games you drop, not only are you on you're cold going in with no momentum or confidence, but you're also playing better teams.
see that to me, the Michigan game is so key for that very reason because the Big Ten tournament is always really weird. You fly out to the Midwest for the midweek tournament. You hope to get the double bye. Jesus Christ, I hope so.
They already got it.
I'm pretty
They
sure
already-
that's
they already got
clinched.
the double
Pretty
bye.
sure.
All right, thank
I just
God.
think it would be nice to get the fucking Big
but
Ten title.
It would be great. But if we lose this game against Michigan, we'll now have lost 4 out of 5 down the stretch. That's not good.
No, it's not good at all.
No one's
Exactly.
going. No one's trumpeting. Going. Oh man, this is a Final Four team. They're going. Oh shit, Maryland's.
Well,
they're,
and
they're right.
here we
for
go
picking,
again.
You
And
know.
Jerry's going to yell at me for loser talk, but one of the reasons I want to win the damn game against Michigan is so if they do lose in their first game in the Big Ten tournament, it's not 6 in a row or whatever the hell it is.
I agree with that. No,
It's
I
like-
agree with that.
Yeah, because we already even said we don't want them to make a long run necessarily because they'll get tired. But we just win the damn game Sunday. Everything will be fine. I still think they probably get a 2 seed, worst of 3 if they win on Sunday.
3.
I think that. I think the back-to-back losses cemented them as a 3. Now, if they go to the Big Ten championship game,
Oh, yeah,
if they
they'll go
win
back
Sunday, go to the Big Ten title game, win or lose, they're a 2.
Can they win? Can they get to the championship game and forfeit so they can rest? Because if they have to play Michigan State again,
Oh, it's gonna be a bloodbath.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Well, neutral site.
How does Michigan State consistently have guys that are 28 and 29 years old? By the way, do those guys
With
look
like 6 kids. And,
I don't know, man. But there was a reason they were preseason 5. They have talent, and now they're putting it together.
Yeah.
So
Well, they're getting contributions now from some of the young guys that we've never really heard of. Whereas the Wiggins, Ayala, even Sorrell Smith, who am I forgetting? Dante Scott, those guys, they aren't really doing a whole lot on the offensive end right
Nope.
now.
and actually, Scott's a good name to bring up because when
I
they're-
love the way that guy plays.
all it takes from him, and a lot of it, one of the things I don't really understand how bad their defensive rebounding has gotten. I don't know how it's gotten so bad.
It's pathetic.
But
It's Caps power play bad.
when Scott has 1 or 2 more rebounds, usually on the defensive end, maybe 2 to 4 more points, that's just a huge difference. Just like same if you get a little bit out of Sorrell, a little bit out of Tomajic, that's really what can put this team over the top. And they just have been getting not enough. They've been getting 0 from a lot of those positions. And that's not going to be enough when you need to play again 4 games in 10 days like they just got off of. If we want to make the Final Four, they're playing 4 games in 10 days.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yeah, well, I really hope that these two teams can I hope that they see the value in the talent that they have, and they at least approach that potential in the postseason. Because conversely, how many years have we gone into a playoff series being a Caps fan, or gone into the tournament being a Terps fan, going, fuck yeah, this is the year, and then the first round loss stings so badly. It's almost like reverse psychology. We're like, yeah, we're limping into the playoffs, and then in the corner, we're like, come on, baby. Come on, give me something to get excited about.
I'm hopeful. I mean, I love the Caps. I love Ovechkin. He's the best player I will ever personally root for in any sport.
Amazing, right?
But, I can see him. He plays when he wants to play. Doesn't play when he doesn't want to play. He wants to score goals because that's all anybody's talking about. But I'm wondering if maybe it's back to the Caps. I'm wondering if it's maybe the forwards and those guys not giving maximum effort. And you know what? As frustrating as right now, maybe they shouldn't give maximum effort if they want to give maximum effort in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But
It's
not
like-
this bad.
Right, right. Well, and I know Jeremy's going to say this is complete blasphemy and everything else, but I'm just throwing it out there. I sent you guys the tweet about, the fact that the Devils back in the day were in first place, going with 3 games left in the season, and they fired their head coach, and they were like, this guy got us here, but he's not going to get us over the top.
But wasn't that like a player revolt? I mean, the players hated that coach.
No, that was Lou, right? That was Lamoriello, who replaced Robinson.
is that what it was?
Yeah,
But I thought it was that the players just refused to play for him. Yeah.
No, that was Lou going, we have enough guys in this locker room that don't buy in 100%. They're going to buy into what I say. We got the talent to go all the way, so I'm taking them.
Lou definitely made the decision. I just didn't remember who got
Fairly
replaced
certain
and stuff
it was Lou taking over for Larry Robinson. That's not going to happen. McClellan, Leonsis, they're way
It's
too
not
loyal.
their MO.
They're not going to do it. But all I'm saying is, if we're sitting here saying this room has
Well,
all
who
the
you
talent,
gonna put in there?
Well, that's part of it. It's
That's
part of the same
part of it.
question we have with Turd.
The pastry chef. You can put him in there.
No,
How about Alan May?
I would love Alan May to be behind the bench.
He
What if they went up and got Dale Hunter down just for the playoff?
Oh, Ovechkin would quit.
He'd be like, "Come here, you motherfuckers." Let's go.
Ovechkin would have like 2 shots a game. Remember how much he hated fucking Dale Hunter?
I think Dale Hunter would just be like, "No, I got a guy in the line for some white walls. I'm not." I'm
Yeah,
not-
exactly.
I'm not
Exactly.
going down."
Good call. Lou Brown.
I'll let you back. I'll call you back.
Yeah. But last couple quick points on the Caps. If I have to blame one position on this team for this slide, I'm absolutely putting it on the forwards because I just think that's where their turnovers has been what is causing the high danger chances that's killing this team. And the last thing I want to say is, to Todd's point, or actually both of you guys, you don't want to limp into the playoffs. I want to add another reason to that is, if this coaching staff can do a good job, getting that 1 seed in the Metro will make a huge difference. Because
is a good point.
with the defense and probably hiding guys, this and that, they're going to need to do, easier to do when you have the last change. First 2 series, if they win the Metro, they'll have that opportunity.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback on what you just said about the forwards, because I'm kind of with you. I think defensively there are glaring deficiencies, but we know what they are, and there's ways to try and mask that. But this is the ultimate team game because it flips, so it's like a shuttle run.
Yeah.
You know, good job, you made it to that line. Now you got to get back, and now you got to go, and now you got to get back. So it's a constant cat and mouse game. The forwards are so important in team defense in hockey. The mistakes that they're making in the neutral zone are passive and soft and slow. And that's what I don't get.
Yep.
If you're ripping it tape to tape and somebody just reads it and makes a great play, good on them. Good job. It's almost like in football. Like if you throw a nice like deep out pattern and the corner just fucking read it, and you threw that thing on a rope and he just got there and got his hand on it or got the pick, you got to tip your hat to him. But if it's fucking soft and it's a little lame duck up there, that's on you. And that's what we're doing over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's like overthrowing a guy on a screen pass as opposed to missing him on a fly pattern.
Yeah. If you're going to fuck up fast in hockey. That's kind of always been that way, and we're just not doing it that way.
Can we get to a bright spot now, like the Washington Redskins?
Hail to the Redskins.
Let's do it.
This is how bad. This is how we did a 180.
I know. Listen to us. Our only source of like optimism right now is the fucking Washington Redskins.
Because it's the offseason.
It's because there's still a chance.
They're going to
transition.
win no more than 5 games.
It's like best of times, right? The night before the game. It's like this is their night because there's still a chance.
Horrible
Bakersfield's going to cream us.
horrible transition to a horrible team. Let's do it.
Trent Williams gets permission to seek a trade.
GTFO.
See you later, buddy. Thank you for your
All right,
time.
so here's what's happened since the last time we spoke. They floated the Tua rumors, where the Redskins allegedly told Tua that they want him to come in and compete with Haskins. Surprisingly, and I'm saying this cynically, they leaked it to the Miami Sun or whatever their Sun Herald or whatever their newspaper is.
Their beat reporter broke it, right?
He broke it. So they leaked it to the one team. They really wanted them to know that rumor was out there.
Proper leakage.
At the same time, they were talking about how great Dwayne is doing. We're in lying season. You can't believe anything that's anybody
You've said
says.
this, and the more you harp on it each week, and the more I'm following different guys on Twitter and stuff. Oh my God, it is just a series of lies.
And then
who can lie more.
Then Miami will come out with their beat reporter saying, "Well, they're not really married to Tua, and they really, they really like Justin Herbert."
And they even
right.
And Love is getting love. They're like, hey, we could draft him too. It's like, Jesus
so
Christ.
you can't believe anything. I came out of the combine strengthening my belief that they're going to draft Chase Young.
I think so too.
Okuda looked a little stiff from all accounts, even though when you put on the tape, he's not stiff. But he ran a little stiff, and he didn't do great in his workouts. But still, he can cover. So,
Yes.
And that's what, who was it? Deion Sanders said, watch his tape. He doesn't look stiff,
Right,
And
right.
so, all Simmons did was run a 4.39. I love watching the offensive tackles run. I mean, they said that the one guy 6'7", 360 ran a 5.1 or 5.0 something, whatever. When's he ever going to run 40 yards? How'd he do in the stuff where he has to move side to side?
Right. How about getting up out of his stance and being
Right,
explosive
so-
for 5
So he's
seconds?
the fastest illegal man downfield of all time.
So
Good point.
Ineligible, sorry.
So leaving the combine, I am I'm more confident than I was that they've locked on to Chase Young.
I really hope so. Unless somebody comes in with a draft day trade that we simply can't refuse, I think Chase Young is a can't miss.
And that's got to be an overwhelming. I mean, that's got to be a sucker. And I think that's what they're looking for.
Right.
But Chase Young, when they were interviewing him after the combine, said, "Who was your most memorable interview?" He said, "The Redskins." So they must have told him something, because he came out saying that was my most memorable interview.
It's gotten to the point where something drastic is going to happen for them not to take him.
Yeah.
Because he's a local boy, Ohio State ties, knows a lot of guys on the team.
I think his medicals were good.
Yeah.
I think he interviewed well. I think they saw what they needed to see.
And you had been saying all along, as long as there are no red flags, this is the guy. And so far, there's no red flags.
And I love his answers. He's like, I'm not running a 40 here. I'm not running a 40 at Ohio State. I don't care about 40 yards. I'll do pass drills, and because I know I'm the best. What do I have to? I'm not a combine workout guy. I'm a football player.
Right.
And I thought that was badass. Why do I need to work
run
out?
down that running back?
Well, he said, why do I need to work out for you guys?
Right.
They know what I can do. I'm here to interview. I'm here to so they know I can answer questions. They get to meet me. They get to see how I respond to questions, how I respond to certain topics, maybe that are uncomfortable. Do I throw temper tantrums, leave the room, or do I accept criticism? If someone says you're not very good against the run, what do? You throw a temper tantrum, or do you really, you hang in there? They go over the whiteboard with, how do you, what's your pass move in this situation? What's your responsibility here? Apparently, he did all that with flying colors.
And that was my only concern was, is he a true badass? Because he's got the talent. I mean, obviously, there's no question about that. He's probably the best player in the draft. But he needs to be a badass for 10 years at the NFL level. That's what we need. And I feel like what you're talking about leads to that as a strong possibility.
I think your best which Bosa is out in San Francisco?
Nick.
When he said this guy's a machine. I mean, this is a guy who was like almost rookie of the year, and he's a badass. And if he's saying that this guy's a badass when he doesn't really have to,
right?
I just left thinking we're going to draft Chase Young.
I had the same exact thought, and I hope you're right. I hope the Redskins stick to their guns because, I mean, we said it now, going back to the season when we were talking about what does this team need, what are the good teams doing, that disruptive edge rush is you can't replace it with anything else. It's a fucking game changer.
You never, ever, except if you're Cincinnati, and where the need meets the best player, you never draft for need in the first round ever. You always take the best player because the Redskins,
Josh Doxson.
The Redskins need a bunch of different things. But if they're not as good as Chase Young, why are you taking them?
Bingo.
Why are you taking someone who's the 10th best player in the draft just because you need that person because you don't have anybody else? Why can't you just go sign a vet? They're all sitting there.
Well, like you said, when we have the laundry list of needs that we do, it almost makes the pick a no-brainer. You take the guy that's going to be impactful on day one.
I'm with you. Now, I'm not saying he's the next Lawrence Taylor, but I'm saying is he, I think they think, can get you, 5 Pro Bowls. And just be solid and disruptive. And
That'd be amazing.
If you have him and Sweat on different sides.
Yep.
Now you're having a very formidable pass rush. You can get off the field on third down. I think they're going to be remarkably better just with Jack Del Rio.
Bingo. That's exactly what I was going to say. You give him another tool in that arsenal, and he's a happy man.
Don't forget that Ron Rivera is a defensive guy. He's a defensive guy.
Hard-nosed, disciplined, defensive-minded.
He played linebacker? Is that what he played?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Unlike Arizona, who brought in Kingsbury, who I'm not sure he even knows what defense is, he was all quarterback.
But he's dreamy.
He's good looking.
Maybe Jerry can rail him.
But
Man rocket over there in Arizona.
So he was. They were not afraid to do the Kyler Murray for Josh Rosen thing because that was his guy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Rivera is a defensive guy. So anyway, I thought that was good. I am so happy with what they're doing with Trent Williams. It's what I said they should have done a week ago. Hey, man, you want $20 million a year, like you say, because it's all about the money. That's all. That's what he wants. He wants the biggest contract. Go get somebody who can get it for you.
That's right.
But I need a one. So you can go to any team you want to. You have permission to get your long-term deal. That does 2 things. One, it allows Trent to have a little dose of reality that nobody's paying him that shit.
Right.
And it also that will allow when a team comes and says, all right, I'll give you 2 years at $16 million each but that's all I'm giving you, and that's his best deal. He can come back to Ron Rivera and say, okay, you went out there. We'll give you 17 for 2 years, or you give the Redskins a chance to match, and so it lowers his expectations. Second thing is, if he does find that contract you're not willing to pay, he gets to negotiate with every team to lock down the contract, which makes them want to give them more compensation. You know, you're not going to trade for Trent Williams. You're not going to offer anything more than a 3 or 4 if you don't think you're going to lock him down for a long time.
Exactly.
So you let him do that piece first.
I think I do think from hearing some of the guys in the know in the NFL that the 1 compensation has passed. I think the best we're going to get is a 2.
Why is it passed? Why is it any different than last year? First of all,
Because Adam Schefter said so.
I'm with John Keim. I'm with John Keim. Nobody was giving him a 1 last year.
Right.
That was all bullshit. Cleveland was not giving him they didn't offer a 1 last year at all. That was bullshit. But if they did, they should offer it to him now. He's the same player, same situation,
Right.
less wear and tear. But so if they don't get a 1, that means they would have never gotten a 1. The people who hate Bruce Allen, I'm included. The narrative,
It's a hell of a list.
The narrative is that they had this massive trade deal and he refused to talk to him. The reality is there weren't any big deals for this guy,
Right.
and there's not going to be any big deals. What they get this year will be the same type of deal they were offered last year.
Hey, you're probably right.
I'm 100% certain of it.
Well, it just solidifies that I think it was the right hire. I think Rivera and crew, they're not playing hardball with anybody. They're just playing reality ball. It's
Right.
like, no, you guys are older. You're a little bit damaged goods, and we're not acquiescing to your demands right now. This is bullshit.
The word is that they are targeting Bradbury, the cornerback,
the corner from Carolina,
who wants $15 million. I hope they don't pay him that much because he's not that. I'm a little leery of the Josh Norman situation where he overvalues his own ability. I mean,
Right.
they all do, right?
Sure.
And cornerbacks are traditionally the most arrogant of them all.
Oh, they and wide receivers are the
Right,
diva.
they're the divas.
Yeah.
But
I just made up that word, diva-est.
Rivera has the benefit of actually knowing this kid. I mean, he knows him in and out.
Yep.
So if he's a locker room cancer, if he's a prima donna, I don't think Josh Norman was any of those things either. I just don't think he could run. I just don't think he was a cover corner. He was a corner.
He was a
zone corner.
and he was really good at it.
Yeah.
But he can't run anymore.
Right.
So I think they're going to get that. They've also, along with everybody else in the league, wants that Austin Hooper. This is a terrible year for tight ends. It's a terrible year. It just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart. But there is no, I mean, that Hunter Henry got franchised.
I know.
Really? Ugh.
Yeah. Can you believe that?
The f-
So it's just,
I know.
and everybody, all the good tight ends will be gone in that second
All
round.
the good tight ends are going to be up in Baltimore.
Yeah,
the Ravens.
The Ravens are going to draft like 2 tight ends in each round.
And then not give the Redskins any opportunity to trade with them. It's going to drive you crazy again. They're going to have a guy in the practice squad better than our starting tight end.
We're going to keep revolutionizing offense and get rid of all but 1 wide receiver and have 7 tight ends that are rotating in and out.
Oh, it's
We're going to
awesome.
go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, boy. So anything else for the week, or you think we've lamented enough on our teams and tried to grasp at straws on any positive
All
weekend?
I'm hoping for tonight with the Caps is a win and no power play.
CAPS, caps. I would love, because this game is in New York, correct? Yeah. I would love to see us go up there.
The Rangers
play-
don't even give a fuck.
play a good, solid 4-2 victory on the road. I don't even care if it's 3-2 and we have to get an empty netter. I want to see us give up no more than 2 goals tonight, and then again on Sunday when we play Pittsburgh. That is Sunday, right?
Yes.
Or is it
It's
Saturday?
I think.
Saturday.
Yeah.
That's going to be some
Yeah,
shit.
because Caps early Saturday, Terps early Sunday.
That's right. I would love to see just good, old-fashioned. I don't want to see Dale Hunter boring hockey, but I want to see a good, tightened-up, neutral zone, defensive-minded Caps team come out and win a couple games here.
I'd like to see the Caps be in control from the beginning and stay in control.
Yes.
That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, and I don't need to see 35 shots on goal. What I don't want to see is for the other team to have a 2-1 advantage on us midway through the second period.
That would drive me fucking crazy.
Because that's been happening, by the way.
And that's what I'm expecting.
Most of
I'm expecting
our
when I look
offensive,
at-
most of our offensive pressure in the third period is score effects, like Jeremy likes to say. You know, when a team's down, they're going to find a way to get pucks at the net. Unfortunately, we've been the team that's been down.
Yeah, and again, that's when they're playing well and that happens, it doesn't bother me.
Exactly
But,
right.
you know,
But on the
they're
other
not
end,
playing well.
well, they're not good enough right now to chase goals either.
Right.
So
But it's really you fucks that are the problem because
We are.
I threw out the text of our old school picking score and who scores first, and you fucking ignored me. And I know you, Jeremy, ain't got shit going on. You just choose to fucking ignore me. Todd's got 12 kids. They all play sports, or he's either at Bryce with the servants. He may have servant problems. Who knows? Maybe the butler quit. But you, motherfucker, sitting in your chair and saying, fuck Jerry, I'm not even responding. That's what pisses me off.
Well, that's
I
exactly what happens.
I had a picture of Jeremy like right before the game starts because he never watches in real time, so he always catches up on DVR. I could picture him standing there, finishing making his dinner, dropping some ice in the glass, making himself a beverage, and seeing a text from Jerry and just being like, "What a fucking asshole!" I'm not texting him back right now.
That's it. Yeah, I was drinking it neat, but other than that, spot on.
And you know what? I'd like to apologize to my wife, my wonderful wife, who I am
How
the
many
worst.
times a day do you have to do that?
It's usually a couple times a week, but I am the worst sports husband ever. She's not allowed to watch a game. All she wants to do is watch a fucking game. I'm like, no, turn that shit off. We're down 1-0. What the fuck? You know the deal.
So when you turn it off and you go to your phone, you won't even let her keep it on?
She goes into the bedroom. She just gets up after. I mean, she doesn't do it immediately because she knows that I'll notice, right?
Right.
But when I put on Days of Thunder,
Days of Thunder rules.
yeah, and I'm watching that shit, like after 5 minutes, she'll just sort of sneak out into the bedroom, and then 15 minutes, I'm like, where'd Holly go? And she's in there cuddled up with all the dogs, watching the game with no sound on.
Nice and calm, regardless of the score. Meanwhile, you're over here, pulling your hair out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, hey, that's what sports does to us, right? So until next week, let's hope we flip the vibe next week, and we're talking about Maryland, going into the Big Ten tournament or even winning a game by that point. The Caps getting back on track a little bit and righting the ship. Because if not, I'm going to be pretty fucking pissed.
Respond to my texts, fuckers.
Cheers.
I just sent one, biatch.
Cheers. All right, boys. Until next week, please give us a follow out there. Wings, beers, and tears, your favorite sports DMV podcast. Peace.
See ya.